Hello all, welcome back to Rogue Trader, of course, game operator and narrator. So we have our new character, Eogan, all kitted out. He's got the bayonet knife, he's rocking the melta-gun, he's got the fancy Sea Delphim pattern Omniscient axe, as well as the touch of the Omnissiah. So anytime we use, say for example, hold on a second. The bionic he's got. I believe it is actually the Magna Rail. So all targets hit by the arc rifle, Magna Rail blast, or transonic wave suffer a -7% penalty to dodge and parry until the end of combat. Does not stack, but it's pretty nice. We also happen to have the Servo Skull Swarm. So I've never actually run swarms like this before. So I don't know if they're going to take up a character slot. It looks like they might, but I'm hoping that's just for equipment loadouts. We're going to find out. In the meantime, however, let's get back up to the WAP. There are things to do and people to go shoot. And ideally we start heading over to the Forgotten Twins, but that is still something we need to do. And not yet there. Do that from Janice? Not really. Gonna wait 2 more turns before we can chart more routes. Combeat in your ear comes to life with a crackle. Lord Captain, Abelard coughed slightly. Following the rites of healing performed by the esteemed Manipulus Ferrus upon the implementation throne in the Sector Bionicle, the machine spirits dwelling within the relic revealed something extraordinary to us. On awakening, the sacred Archaeotech brought several more machines back to wakefulness. After performing diagnostic rituals, the tech priest discovered a secret door behind one of the devices. It was inscribed with an ancient von Valancius coat of arms. As soon as the tech priest tried to enter, a genetic guardian blocked the way. It refused to open the door to anyone but rogue trader Serbian von Valancius or his heir. So what do we know about Serbian von Valancius? Therein lies the problem, your lordship. No rogue trader by the name of Serbian is listed in any of the Dynasty Chronicle. The historians of the flagship are also unfamiliar with the name. Why the Guardian thinks it belongs to an owner that it never existed is a mystery. And only you, as the actual head of the dynasty, can find the answer. We're never gonna get back to space. I will check the door and the Guardian immediately. As you say, lordship, the High Factotum has taken upon himself to make the necessary preparations, and he will meet you there. Back to the ship, back to the ship. All these new things kicking off at once here. Gonna love it. And what, pray tell, be you? And how come Eogan never told me about you? There. Good news, it looks like it does not take up a slot. We just get additional Servo Skull, which means that our Servo Skull, who is currently acting as our medic, is in a good spot. The High Factotum, Shurigan Mechanix, and Janitor Ferenz are already waiting for you by the mysterious door. The wall behind them looks perfectly flat. Only the metal coat of arms gleaming in the luminous light and the steady glow in the Genetic Guardian's impassive lenses reveal that one of the Dynasty's secrets lies behind this wall. The Guardian of the secret room looks far less menacing than the gargoyle that guards the entrance to the warrant chamber. This is just a recess in the wall, framed in metal, with an analyzer needle inside and a small vid screen beside it. Lines of mechanically indifferent text appear on the screen. Access is forbidden. Entry is authorized only for Serbian von Valancius or his direct descendants. Well, let's go ahead and examine the coat of arms on the wall. The heraldic symbols, cast in noble bronze, are undoubtedly from the von Valancius dynasty. Only certain details draw your eye. Some elements of the ornamentation in the archaic script. They indicate that the coat of arms, as well as the wall itself, is several centuries old. Answer me, machine spirit of the Genetic Guardian. Who's Siberian? Guardian's vid screen flickers just slightly. Error. The request is invalid. Entry is authorized only for Serbian von Valancius or his direct descendants. Alright, well, fine. I am his direct descendant. Genetic confirmation of dynastic status required. With an off-putting beep, the analyzer needle lengthens slightly. We shall place our hand in the recess. The analyzer pierces your hand, wriggling repulsively beneath your skin. A second later, the color of the Genetic Guardian's vid screen changes to a welcoming green. Identification passed. Welcome, member of the von Valancius dynasty. A tremor passes through the wall, accompanied by the deep groan of ancient locks releasing. Vivisector Martinax's pupils dilate. He takes a wary step forward and freezes. Incredible! Generations of Chirurgans have toiled away here and were utterly unaware. Renz lets out a shocked exclamation in linguid technus, which shifts to a sharp binaric screech. Then, embarrassed by his outburst, the tech priest bashfully steps aside, respectfully making way for you. Be careful, Lord Captain. Abelard narrows his eyes at the outline of the coat of arms, his brow furrowing stubbornly. Dynastic secrets can be more than a little dangerous. It is my righteous duty as seneschal to escort you inside. Alrighty, I guess this is a new thing. The door slides to one side with a metallic thud. Stale air rushes out of the hidden room, carrying with it particles of centuries-old dust. And what, pray tell, lies within? Seen the symbol before. Definitely encountered these symbols and images in the Sector Bionica.
With each step, I forge my destiny among the stars.
So, looks like a private study, which is neat. We got some goods. Go forth, Yugen, and earn your keep.
The machine god was benevolent to me.
Hydraulic boosters. User gains the jump maneuver ability. Huh. Interesting. Despite the stale air in the small chamber, the richly jeweled display case looks as if it had been meticulously maintained all this time. There's not a single mote of dust on the clear gleaming glass.
The divine watches over us.
And whose chair be this? Chair's worth a fortune. Ah, Siberian. Nice picture. A figure in grand attire stares down at you from the portrait with an air of regal superiority. The insignia embellishing its lavish cloak leaves no room for doubt. This is a rogue trader of bygone days. His right hand rests on the hilt of an exquisite blade, and his roguish half-smile radiates a majestic condescension. The plaque reads, Serbian von Valancius, miasmo of Coronis, rogue trader of the Imperium and guiding light of his dynasty. Let's study the details of the portrait. It is hard to argue with the simple truth. The subject of the portrait was an extremely good-looking individual. Not one of his meticulously painted scars, which the rogue trader bore like medals for military valor, could spoil his noble beauty. Let's study the background and the painting. Your eye is drawn to the head of the predatory creature behind the man. Its beastly face, distorted in mortal rage, is vaguely familiar, and its gaze, too intelligent for a dead thing, is fixed on something very specific outside the painting. Let's have a look at the weapon in the portrait. There can be no doubt about the weapon's origins. The sword depicted by this unknown artist's brush was not forged by human hands. The fluid curves, the exceptional lust of the blade, and the gem at the hilt show the weapon to be the work of an Eldari artisan. The blade is also unusual for the runes engraved along its length. They are most ancient indeed. The inscription is in the Eldari language, recounting the legend of an unholy god of war revered by the Xenos. Argenta shakes her head in disapproval. Memory is the force that drives humanity and inspires us to deeds worthy of our ancestors. Details are eroded by time, leaving only the essential crystallized within relics and images. We should preserve only that which fortifies us upon his path. The rest must be consigned to oblivion. And unfortunately, this portion of your legacy belongs to the latter. We shall gaze closer upon his face. Chiseled features, dark brows, and a gaze full of inner strength. You also notice the finely worked furrows of stubbornness on his forehead and at the corners of his mouth. The artist strove to capture the complex character of a strong-willed man, and seems to have done a superlative job. Yeah, you do got a fine figure. The portrait remains silent. Perhaps because, despite of the vividness of the person depicted, it is indeed only an object that has been hanging on this wall for centuries. Let's see what we shall find out. Ooh, this is a willpower test. Ah, good question. Are we gonna wind up like good old good old Fulgrim, trapped within the painting? I will not dishonor the glorious name of the Von Valancius dynasty. I swear it. You know you speak the truth. You begin to think that the man in the portrait is looking back at you with faith in his eyes. Nenrock, I have found a portrait of my ancient ancestor. I wish for it to be rehung in my chambers. The obsequious reply comes almost instant. I will arrange everything at once, Lord Captain. And as for the rest of this...
We are bound by the blood of martyrs.
Watch your steps.
Whoa, we got some hidden goods. How about the diary itself? The cover of the book is coated in a thick layer of dust. The sprayed edges have warped and are marred with decay. The writing implements lie in disarray. An autoquill, an ornately shaped inkwell, and a paperweight, as if the dearest had made the last entry before leaving their secret study in haste. We shall dust off the cover. The sturdy, well-crafted leather with expensive embossing has hardly faded with the effects of time. The Von Valancius coat of arms stamped on it is embellished with large gems. The book is covered in many scratches and scuffs, as if the book had survived more than a few centuries. At the bottom of the cover, the name Siberian Von Valancius is written in florid script. It appears to be a personal diary. We shall open to the first few pages. The pages are filled with cramped writing, along with blots crossing out and sweeping underlines that reveal the owner's passionate nature. The ink is as faded and decayed as the pages themselves, the thin parchment crumbling to dust at any careless touch. All I can be certain of is that the portion of my designs that most of my retinue consider overly bold will not leave the confines of these chambers. It is rather amusing that this personal laboratory has ultimately become a secret sanctuary. To those walls I can tell most of my ideas and research. At times I sense the esteemed Exalt 117 is entirely aware of its existence, but the Archmagos has always possessed that rare combination of human qualities. A sense of tact coupled with the ability to keep others' secrets. The stream of thought is cut short. The next page of the diary has been ripped out. Let's look at the last entry then. The siege is over, but it takes more than a single battle won to snuff the flames of war. They are showering me with their artless praise. They are lauding me as the savior of the dynasty. And yet I cannot shake the thought that it may be my hand that signed its death warrant. What if the artifact in front of me now is not enough? Yet the place where I found this relic may hold still more. The God Emperor willing, I shall find them. No one must know about the cloister that I discovered. No one must interfere with my search. I will order Ambrosio not to record the warp routes in the archives of his esteemed house. And should I fail, then perhaps my descendants might finish what I started. The dynasty's private cogitator on Dragonis seems ancient and loyal enough for me to trust it with the coordinates. The access identifier is Laria. This will open the secret areas of the machine spirit's memory. I hope I will be the one who reads the journal upon my return. And I hope I will destroy this evidence of my inexcusable faintness of heart. Alright, so sounds like we got some dark secrets here. I'm really hoping I don't get fulgrimed. We will see. The remaining pages of the diary are utterly untouched. Perhaps the cogitator in the palace of Dragonus mentioned in the last entry can tell you more about this mysterious Siberian von Valancius and his life's journey. Maybe. Something's going on in the camera. I can't change the camera. Janus wipes the sweat from his brow, then sets to drying his fleshy hand with a silk handkerchief. Your lordship, has your search been successful? Have you learned anything about the fate of the mysterious Siberian? A portrait of a nobleman holding an unusual sword on one of the walls. I'll give you the notion the blade depicted was more than just a ceremonial weapon, your lordship. An Aldari blade, and an ancient one at that. The Xenos relic, without a doubt. The high factotum pales slightly and looks away. I see. This is a strong indicator that the blade's wielder was a most distinguished individual. Even among rogue traders, not everyone can afford to possess such an item. It must be a genuine portrait of Siberian. Yes, the fellow in the portrait was rather handsome and sumptuously dressed. I'm going to have to check that word. I see. Alas, this sheds no light on who he really was. Although an elegant appearance is indeed a hallmark of the nobility. And you are no small proof of that. Yes, enough about the blade. After a thorough search, I found a handwritten diary signed by Siberian von Valancius. That's something. One can learn a great deal about an individual from their personal writings. That is, of course, assuming he was sufficiently truthful in his account. What did the diary entry tell you, Lord Captain? This secret chamber was a sanctuary and laboratory. I believe that Siberian was overly interested in radical ideas. That explains a great many things. In particular, the fact that no mention of him survives in the official histories. A tense furrow forms on Janus's brow. I suppose there must be something dark and nefarious behind all of this. Far more than we can even guess. The final entry tells of a siege of Dragonus, but such a historical event is not in the chronicles. The factotum takes on, absent-mindedly twirling the autoquill in his hand. Let me think. That is strange indeed. I've studied the history of the dynasty in enough detail to recall all the major battles of the last millennium, and none took place in the capital world. I also found a reference to a certain cogitator in the palace of Dragonus, as well as a data key that grants access to its archives. Wonderful! You should definitely go to the Dragonus and convey that code to the cogitator's machine spirit. And nothing more has survived in the records. Thank you for your information, your lordship. And that is everything I've managed to discover. Your thoughts? Your lordship, I imagine that Siberian was a man of remarkable talents and extraordinary destiny. I regret that I was fated never to see him in the flesh. The life form Janitor Ferenz is extremely disturbed by the discovered addition to the genealogical tree of the von Valancius dynasty. I request permission to make the appropriate changes to the Sector Bionica archives. It seems that Siberian von Valancius was indeed the one erased from the official chronicles. Wonder what deed prompted such a step. I do hope that, when the machine spirit of the ancient cogitator on Dargonus sheds light on this mystery, we shall not have to consign what we learned to oblivion as well, Lord Captain. Yes. All that's said and done, and there's still that lovely item over here I never got to grab. And what are you? A relic augment. Ooh, that is slightly better than the one that Abelard has. 3 levels of toxin instead of 2. Let's maybe switch that out right now. Get on over here. Good Abelard. I have changed absolutely nothing, have I? I was looking at these and I never did change them. You mean level 3 toxin? Hmm. That was the other thing I wanted, right there. And is that not permanent? How would we make this permanent? Augment is embedded. And away we go. All right, back to the ship, back to the bridge, and back to the wall. I probably should just hit the map button there. One day I'll remember, but it's not this day. But this day, we go through loading screens. Lord Captain, I keep receiving reports about malfunctions among the various ship systems. This time we are dealing with inexplicable temperature fluctuations. Thermal control failures were observed not only in individual compartments, but even in the soldiers' protective equipment. Several crew members have suffered from burns and frostbite. The tech priests are performing these rites of machine spirit pacification and remain convinced that the issues were caused by the spirit's obscenity and defiance. The reports claim the incidents remain well within the scope of expected performance parameters. Over the last few days, complaints about the malfunctioning thermal controls have dwindled, but the crew members have started whispering that our vessel is haunted. The tech priest's assurances that only the machine spirit's tempers are to blame are doing nothing to dissuade these ridiculous rumors. If this turns out to be another one of Adira going crazy, I'm going to shoot her. Just so you're aware. Oh god. Let's say, hold on a second, I'm in the wall. Oh good, there's blood coming out of the walls. Yes, this is awesome. Saddleback, how can you let this happen? An assassination attempt upon the rogue trader in his own chambers? Right under the noses of your enforcers? Fierce growl rumbles deep in Abelard's throat. The master-at-arms radiates grim fury. Her eyes are dark, her lips pursed. With a practiced hand, she removes the maul from her belt and offers it to you. An unforgivable error. I expect full responsibility and ask for due punishment. I want an explanation, not vain self-chastisement. Put that weapon away and report. Sourback hesitates for a moment before putting them all away. Understood, Lord Captain. Reporting. All adjacent decks have been isolated. We have begun our search for the culprit and have set up investigation headquarters on the officer's deck. The substance has been analyzed and confirmed to be blood containing traces of major mutations. While it poses no risk of infection to your lordship, the very presence of such genetic aberration on board is a serious threat to the safety of the ship and must be addressed promptly. Once word of this gets out, many among the crew will surely see as a brazen challenge to your status as a rogue trader. And what generic aberration? Well, the heresy of mutation. Mutants are vicious beasts who sow only ruin and death. They are devoid of all humanity, and the vile blood that runs through their veins feeds their unclean thoughts and urges. Numerous accounts speak of entire colonies falling prey to bloody uprisings staged by these creatures, all because their governors were too squeamish to order genetic purges. You don't say. I wonder why somebody we don't consider human and exterminated by the thousands would think to revolt. What a crazy mystery. Alas, the Imperium's enemies are not limited only to those outside its borders. Mutants can become a considerable threat, especially when given the chance to organize. The heretics have revealed themselves and are eager to fight? Then fight we shall. Let the vessel be purged of their filth. Could this have been an assassination attempt? then they would have filled the bath with acid or poison instead. There are easier ways to kill someone than drowning them in blood, as foul as that blood may be. Cassia shudders. I beg to differ. Were something of this sort to happen to me, my heart would surely stop.
And what do you intend to do next?
As one, every enforcer present gets on their knees. Lord Captain, this incident has cast a shadow on our honor. We only ask for one thing, a chance to absolve ourselves of our guilt. Allow me to head to the officer's deck at once, so that I may lead the investigation personally.
Lord Captain, on a previous occasion, it was your intervention that resolved a matter that my own rigidity had only exceeded in making worse. With all due respect to Mistress Sourback, perhaps she would benefit from your fresh perspective.
Seneschal, do you think so little of me that you could rob me of a chance to defend my honor?
I will handle the investigation myself. If they wish to challenge me, then I shall take matters into my own hands.
You see a look of horror in Sourback's eyes. Lord Captain, I implore you, this was my mistake. If you rectify it for me, I will be disgraced.
Could it ever be a disgrace to face a challenge shoulder to shoulder with your lord?
I had not considered it like that. Your resolve is commendable. I will await your arrival at the headquarters on the officer's deck to brief you on our current progress. Cool. Well, let's go to the officer's deck. We will never see the glory of space again. That was just in my quarters. Whoops. Yeah. Other side is not where I need to go. Where is my elevator? Way up there. The Lord Captain's work is never done. To the officer's deck. Pretty sure it'll be fine. I'm pretty sure it's... Oh, it's just Terry. He's just having a gas. Sourback barks at the enforcers gathered before you. His lordship, the rogue trader, wishes to handle the investigation personally. Lord Captain, the three officers before you have been tasked with conducting the investigation. First, Captain Klein is a veteran with a record of quailed uprisings of mutant abominations in the colonies. Captain Jinvari is young, but she has already preempted several mutinies among the ship's rabble. How many mutinies are taking place on my ship? Lastly, there's Captain Hrotko. For his interrogation skills deserve credit, and he knows how to instill fear and respect firmly in the minds of the riffraff. We notice the enforcers exchange a few astounding glances and throw their shoulders back. Apparently, they are not used to standing so close to figures as renowned as you. After carefully assessing the officers' bearing and their uniforms, Abelard nods with satisfaction.
Their drilling is good. Their service records are excellent. Let's see how they perform in the field. I cannot help but notice other looks of awe. Is my presence going to distract you from your duties?
On the contrary, your lordship. Your presence inspires us. Captain Jinveri's cheeks redden. Your lordship, I hope you do not take this as insolence. I am a great admirer of yours. I've read the fictionalized account of your deeds many, many times.
So they write stories about me, do they?
Of course, I have it right here. She offers you a worn tome with a somewhat embellished portrait of you on the cover. We are going to correct the inaccuracies in the tomb. Oh, this simply will not do. Half an hour later, you hand Jinveri her tome back, which now contains numerous comments written between the lines. She accepts it reverently. Sourback's murderous glares silenced Genveri's frantic expressions of gratitude. Does that take care of the pleasantries? Let us return to the attempt on the Lord Captain's life.
What are your findings thus far?
We have discovered a worker's corpse, mutilated and desiccated. We are still looking to the man's identity and position, but the Shurigan's report has confirmed that, among all the blood that was pumped into your bath chamber, the blood-carrying mutations was indeed his. The workers from the nearby decks have all been checked for genetic aberration, but the mutations identified are all within the norm for laboring masses. Yet frowns as she surveys the deck. So much noise and empty violence. I'm surprised you're able to find anything in this pandemonium of your own making. Yes, Nuncius, this is a decent hypothesis. Yoga nods with an intent look. I suppose a thorough examination of the autopsied body and determining the dead man's family ties would help to narrow down the suspects and avoid entropy multiplication. Rudimentary checks may not be enough.
Even taking into account the neighboring decks only, that constitutes hundreds of people. How do you plan on questioning them all?
Our interrogation techniques are broad and varied. However, nothing loosens the tongue like corporal punishment. Beatings, mutilations, torture, public executions. Sourback almost purrs as she lists ways of making people suffer. When combined with psychological pressure, such methods work wonders.
Unfortunate necessity.
Sorry to laugh. Yes, the beating shall continue until morale improves.
An unfortunate necessity. Let us return to other matters.
Indeed, Lord Captain, most unfortunate, says the Master-at-Arms, a bloodthirsty smirk stealing across her face.
Do you have any working theories?
The mutants are plotting, Klein spits in disgust. They've been breeding like void rats, so they're getting cocky. Must have wanted to infect your lordship with their plague. It wasn't an attempt on the Lord Captain's life, it was a threat. The rabble are planning a revolt, so they're trying to terrorize us. Soon ye will drown in blood. Insurgents pride themselves on such metaphors. Meanwhile, Captain Hrotko is convinced that it was the work of Votger's surviving cultists. However, I believe this to be a warning rather than a threat. What we need to establish is who's trying to warn us, and of what.
And what do you propose we investigate first?
The body. Once we have ascertained the dead man's identity, we'll be able to locate his associates and narrow down the number of suspects. Captain Klein is in charge of examining the corpse. The body was discovered on a suspended platform not far from the room with the amylary sphere. Take a left once you're out of the mess hall, your lordship, and go out along the balcony. The corpse is on the next platform, after the one holding the Infernus Guild suspects. I'll show you around the scene once you're there.
The Infernus Guild suspects?
Yes, your lordship. They are undergoing interrogation like all the rest. The scum refused to comply, so they were isolated on a separate platform. The Inferni are a rotten bunch. They must be involved in this. Captain spits contemptuously.
Well, then let us begin.
My people at your disposal, Lord Captain.
We must first inspect the body.
We shall reclaim what is rightfully ours.
And this is it. What a mess. You've turned my library into an absolute mess. Alright, so we need to go head on down to the room not far from the armillary sphere. Ah, yes. The beatings. They are continuing.
Let us walk this path to the end.
Montag! I cannot speak with Montag. I'm sorry, what is this? The worker was beaten with skill, and care was taken not to damage his joints. He is suffering, but he can still work for the dynasty. Oh, that's good. I believe I have crossed the line. Woohoo. Just having just a little bit of second thoughts here. Hold the heck on. What's going on here, Klein? Horribly mutated. That's good.
Know your duty.
Not seeing anything around here. All right, Klein. The worker's ruined body lies in a waxen pile on the platform. His face is crushed, his throat open, and his body riddled with cuts and lacerations. Above it stands Captain Klein, the dim light filling the lines on his forehead with shadows that bleed down his furrowed brows and into the pits of his eyes. The scalpel in his hand trembles faintly. It might look human. What's inside it is all wrong, unholy, irredeemable. Just wrong.
Have you started the autopsy yet?
I have, but the furrows on the enforcer's face deepened. I will get back to it in just a moment, your lordship.
Something the matter? You look pale.
Klein hesitates, avoiding your gaze. I suppressed a dozen mutant revolts on Dargonis for Lady Theodora. Torn the freaks to pieces myself. But to open one up, to sink my hands into their impure guts infested with the mutant blight. I have seen this aberration utterly pervert the human form. The thought of it touching me, disgusting, infuriating. But I will overcome this.
You will indeed, Captain. If you like, I can recite a few paragraphs from the regulations to enthuse you. Hand me that scalpel. I'll perform the autopsy. You record the findings. Yes, this man is dead.
Succeeded. The skin and bones part, and the stench of rancid meat hits your nostrils. Klein empties his stomach over the deck railing. Fighting the urge to vomit yourself, you peer at the vile mass of subhuman entrails. Vestigial ingrown arms wrap around what look like the vile semblance of familiar organs, interlaced with scaly, bile-colored sacs. Failed the xenolust test. Cannot begin to guess what unfavorable genetic factor caused such a hideous mutation.
Wait, they'll start the reactor.
Argenta reflexively raises her weapon when she sees the mutant's rotten insides. The fiery rage in her eyes seems capable of incinerating the abomination as thoroughly as any flamer. The Manipulus's entire face lights up with enthusiasm. Yogun's mechadendrites extend toward the mutant's abdomen with perfect precision, bristling with needles and lancets. What a fine specimen of genetic corruption, Nuncius. Take note, all these changes are by no means random. They have structure and inherently evolutionary purpose. Metamorphosis has been planted within him, but what kind? Indeed, Nuncius, Xenos' origin is highly probable.
We shall inspect the wounds.
Judging by the damage, the most brutal wounds were administered posthumously over the top of those inflicted while the victim was alive. It is as if someone deliberately wanted to make it harder to identify the victim and his cause of death. The truth is, the killer acted quickly and with surgical precision, then suspended the body upside down to drain the blood.
Rogue trader, I conclude that we are being deceived. Soft tissue damage was inflicted post-mortem,
masking the true cause of death. A stab wound between the ribs that severed the aorta. Immediate death? A strike of such clinical precision it could rival my own mechadendrites. We shall use our law of the Imperium to investigate the entrails. The twisted abnormalities of the mutant's insides make you wonder if you can ever even be considered human at all. As you probe deeper, your hand finds something lodged in the victim's gullet. Someone has stuffed a black feather into the man's throat. A certain legend springs to your mind, one involving Saint Corinne, who was granted a portent of enemies hiding among the faithful. When Corinne prayed to the Emperor for a sign that might reveal the traitors, a raven's feather burst out of her mouth to inscribe the names of the conspirators. Only someone versed in the symbology of the Imperium could have left such a message. With some difficulty, you are able to discern a mark on his neck, almost ruined by the wound across his throat. It is a tattoo of a skull with a valve in its mouth, and a string of letters, numbers encircling it. SP-246-01. Yes, I have finished the autopsy. The enforcer offers you a rag soaked in disinfectant. That was foul. Your lordship, I must commend your fearlessness and insight, and apologize for my weakness of spirit. My shameful fear prevented me from doing my duty. It will not happen again. Shame on you, Captain. An officer's duty is to support the Lord Captain, not the other way around. If that burden is too great for you, you should consider resigning. I speak plainly, veteran to veteran. A modicum of sympathy is buried deep within the Seneschal's ruthless words. That will do, Captain. We all have our foibles. The enforcer dips his head deferently. You've been a model of fearlessness and competence. I will inspire to follow your example. Someone tried to conceal the victim's identity and cause of death. Klein takes a closer look at the precise wounds you indicated, almost undetectable beneath the mutilation. You have a keen eye, your lordship. But why would someone do that, then leave the body in plain sight? They could have just disposed of it. There has to be something more to this whole bloody business. Bloody business. You turn your attention to the floor on the corpse. There is no spatter, no gobs of flesh, no bloody footprints fortuitously trailing into the dark. And yet, you know there is no way to butcher a corpse like that without getting dirty at all. Someone stuffed a feather down his gullet, a reference to the legend of Saint Corinne. Well spotted, your lordship. No doubt you have already reached the same conclusion, but I will state it for the official record. Vile mutants do not make allusions to saints. This was someone versed in the creed. Yes, agreed. He also has a tattoo on his neck. A skull with a valve and a few symbols. SP-246-01. That's the symbol of a pipe warden clan that maintains the sewer systems. The SP stands for Senior Pipe Warden, followed by his identification number. Invari is working on the work log cogitator. She can use it to learn the victim's name from his number. The cogitator is in the nearest maintenance room. Yes, very well.
We
And
shall
where?
deal with this.
I was just going to say, and where? And where are my goods?
The Divine watches over us.
I do not see my goods. Which bothers me greatly. Were they over here? They were not. Okay, that's interesting. You would think that would light up almost immediately, but it has not. That's right, nearest maintenance room.
Let the faith guide my path to glory.
Attention to detail is the key to success.
We are getting more chirps, and I don't know where these are lighting up at.
Over there.
Again. I don't know what's going on. And we got some goods here.
Watch out.
And cargo. Seems to be... blood. It's a trail. Not fresh, but not dried yet either. So that's what's been going on here. More blood here, I'm assuming. A scrap of human skin with jagged edges is stuck to the deck. Probably from being dragged. How about you? You notice a few drops of blood that someone managed to avoid being trodden on. Blood does not appear all that fresh, but has not yet had a chance to dry either. So hopefully down this way to the maintenance room. That's a lift to the Lord Captain's quarters. Here we are. Hello, Enforcer Genveri. You are obstructing the investigation, esteemed tech priest. I require the information stored by this machine's spirit. If you refuse to cooperate... petition rejected. A malady has befallen the machine spirit of the honored master cogitator Iota 3B. Unauthorized anguish will worsen its condition and impede its treatment. I will not stand for such acts of brutality against the Great Elder. I'll show you brutality, you blasted cog. What is going on here? The greatly esteemed tech priest and Rovetta Phi does not seem to realize the importance of investigation actions and refuses to grant anyone access to the master cogitator. And Rovetta Phi's mechadendrites creak as they bow before you. Exalted ruler of the vessel, I mean no harm but to protect. I merely care for the machine spirit's health. It has fallen ill of late, and now its temper is worse than ever. If the laywoman starts torturing it now, the venerable spirit may take offense and leave us forever, taking the logs of the lay people's toils with it. This must be prevented. And Mary, why do you seek to access the malfunctioning cogitator? The work logs are on it. They might contain important information that will lead us to our suspect. And the Rovetta Phi's vox explodes in a furious binaric roar. This laywoman does not even know what she intended to inquire of the blessed Eldar. Blasphemous disrespect. We need to investigate this cogitator in order to obtain information about a certain pipe warden. Ruler of the vessel, why do you insist on interrogating an elderly soul when it is such a miserable state? You are making a mockery of the Omniscience tenets and the privileges of the priesthood of Mars. Yogan, explain to her that we mean no harm to the cogitator. Sister in service, your favor and protection of this ancient machine is a testament to your wisdom and righteousness. Perhaps you have heard of how I restored the holy relic of the Sector Bionica, the implementation room? Knowing this, will you entrust me with the oversight of the venerable Master Cogitator Iota 3B in order to determine the cause of his malady? Janitor Extremus Ferbus, your status as keeper of the Omniscience relics is recorded within my logs. Privileges granted, I submit a petition for the utmost prioritization of the machine's spirit's safety. As you approach, the lumens on the Master Cogitator's bulky hull light up peevishly, and the cooling filters breathe an exasperated sigh. The machine spirit appears to be in a rotten mood. May the motor force bless these litanies of access. With great reverence, Eogan plugs his mechadendrite into the cogitator's data port. He utters a stream of binaric noises and disperses vapor from his alembic. The cogitator sighs benignly, expelling a small cloud of dust from his ventilation grate. I shall courteously introduce myself by inputting your data to show respect for the machine spirit. After a unnecessarily long verification process, the cogitator recognizes the possibility that you may indeed be the ship's Lord Captain. A string of technolingua on the big screen tells you that you may now input your request. I shall now humbly ask for the data on the toils of the ship's workers. Beside itself with anger, the cogitator sprays you with sparks. As its vid screen dims and flickers, you hear a spiteful whir and find yourself staring at an incomprehensible mess of symbols. Apparently, the spirit refuses to comply on account of some blocker A403. Oh, the spirit is truly unwell. Why else would blocker A403 prevent it from sharing such data, especially after a log ritual of greeting? The sacred code has become confused amid attempts of unknown algorithms. Only hibernation, asperging of his circuit boards, and the reawakening of his galvanic circuits via the motive force will deliver him from this lethargic state. Then we shall use our tech. We shall treat the cogitator's boards with thermal unction. Let it slumber for a while, then awaken once more. Yogan touches his brow to the machine and, whispering in binaric, channels a cautious pulse of the motive force into the cogitator's depths. The unction, as well as the short breather, have done wonders for the old spirit's disposition. Mollified, it wipes the data blocker from the vidscreen and agrees to indulge your inquiries. Then we shall inquire about the cause of the old cogitator's ailment. Why did you require to be turned off and then turned back on again? You managed to find the right string of tech commands. With a grunt, the cogitator starts whining on and on about its woes. Just as today's watch began, someone disturbed its data dream, used some trickery to rob it of data, then befuddled its elderly mind, and instructed it to deny access to anyone else. Eliminate the cause of the symptom. Eliminate the cause, not the symptom, as the ancient wisdom of the Magos biologist states. The manipula strokes his chin pensively with one of his mechadendrites. Nuncius, do you know how many lame people capable of deliberately torturing a machine spirit? After listening to the servo skull's silent reply, he nods. I concur, dearest colleague. We are clearly dealing with attempted sabotage. And now we shall request information about SP-24-01. After mulling over your question for a while, the spirit recalls that the number is assigned to a senior pipe warden by the name of Orto. This Orto and his partner spent the last watch servicing valve 27B, which supplies water to the rogue trader's chambers. After finishing up the maintenance, only Orto's partner reported in. Curious. That's the same valve that was used to pump the blood into the bath chamber. That must be where they killed Orto before dragging his corpse onto the deck. We shall request information about the pipe warden's partner. At first, the cogitator feigns ignorance out of spite, pretending not to recognize your request, but after 4 more attempts, the spirit does take pity on you. Orto's partner was Senior Pipe Warden Gwedon, number SP-268-55. Gwedon has not reported for duty since the incident. We have our suspect. It looks like Gwedon killed his fellow worker and put on this entire bloody spectacle. Hartko is the only responsible for arresting the rabble. Excuse me, Hartko is the one responsible for arresting the rabble. So he'll be our best candidate for shedding some light on this Gwedon character. The honored machine spirit is tired. It cannot bear any more of this torture. I see that you got what you came for, so I would ask that you let the elderly have their rest. Having intoned the first galvanic hymn, Yogan delivers a final pulse of the motive force and tenderly unplugs from the master cogitator data port. The elder's lumens fade. I have placed this machine into a healing slumber. Let us hope that the motive force I shared will appease the machine spirit and keep it from harm. All right, so we now have an idea of what's going on.
With each step, I forge
All we
my
need to do now
destiny among the stars.
We have loot back in the main office. Loot that I missed. That's terrible. But where? Right there. That's where. Yeah. Well, we're definitely gonna need more booze after this one. Starbucks here, but we need vodka. And where Oh, well. He's our good friend. That way is blocked. Cannot hop over this way. So we shall continue down this direction. There's the Enforcer Transcriptor. Here we are. Enforcer Circle. You there! Good sound. Circle looks on with indifference as his people use their batons and legs to interrogate the serfs. Upon noticing you, he nods curtly. Your lordship?
How fares the interrogation?
Satisfactory. We are maintaining fear and respect among the rabble as we go through our suspects. We will find the culprit soon, I swear it on my rank.
Was there a senior pipe warden by the name of Gwaden among the suspects? Escort him to me. I will question him.
Norco frowns as he taps on his data slate. Gwaden, yes, we have him here. He is waiting his turn. We'll bring him over at once. I have been informed of your decision to question one of the suspects, Lord Captain. I consider it my duty to be present for the interrogation so that I may ensure your safety. Whoop. I didn't get a chance to read that. That happened quick. Before you stands a gaunt man in work clothes. His face is swollen from the bruises and several of his fingers are broken and sticking out at odd angles. He stares vacantly into the distance with watery eyes.
I thought you said he was still waiting his turn. Why does he look beaten half to death?
Those are merely the preliminary measures before the interrogation begins in earnest, your lordship. A suspect becomes much more inclined to speak if you give them the baton first.
Standard procedure.
Start talking, you miserable wretch. You tried to kill the Lord Captain, didn't you? Horko grabs the worker by the lapels. Gwenon's coat flies open, revealing crude occult symbols painted all over his body. What's this? Heretical brands? Cultist scum! Weldon yells, baring what remains of his teeth. Yes, it was me! I tried to put a curse on the Lord Captain. I killed my partner in a wicked ritual, rubbed elbows with them daemons, consorted with them, all to carry out a dark plot and to doom the Lord Captain for the glory of my almighty master. He bursts into a fit of hysterical, theatrical cackling. He has admitted everything, the vermin. I have insisted time and again that the assassination attempt was carried out by one of Voltgear's surviving henchmen, and I was right. I guess we weren't so thorough in cleaning him out as we thought. Rodko casts a sharp look at Sarabak.
And who is this dark and almighty patron of yours?
Master Malachi, the Directful, him. Yes. You do not remember hearing of such a daemon before. What you do remember from reports is that the name of the former of the 5th Food Depot, a known miser and sadist, is Malachi Direct. I shall now gaze upon the man with my experienced commissary's eye. You have shot a good many soldiers who have given in to corruption. You know how it manifests itself, how it twists a person's body and mind. The only violation that this worker deserves to be shot for is the absence of intelligence. He does not even remotely resemble a crazed cultist.
Enough of these theatrics, Gwaden. You are no cultist. Why are you so intent on vilifying yourself?
The man blanches and starts bawling. He gives up on his sinister theatrics and babbles in the voice of a common worker. Forgive me, your lordship. I'm not Gwaden, and I'm not a heretic. Yart's me name. I'm a laundryman. Please have mercy. They took me family. The enforcer said she'd throw them out the airlock if I don't confess. She made me draw these unholy marks on myself. Abelard casts a significant glance in Sauerbach's direction.
Your own forces have a knack for persuasion, Mr. Sauerbach. But this is ridiculous.
What enforcer? Name! Give me her name! Jinvari! Her name was Jinvari. The failed heretic raises his hands to his face, and you see many purple bruises. They are older than the others by several hours. He was evidently beaten long and hard, and he would have been screaming the whole time. Someone must have witnessed it. Didn't vary. The steely edge in Sourback's voice causes everyone present to freeze, but you also hear a note of bewilderment. We will deal with her later. I will handle the search for Gwyn myself, Lord Captain. Would you have to execute this Daemon worshipper? Execute. Truly, no word sounds sweeter to this monkey's ears.
Spare the man. Wash off those heretical symbols and let him rejoin his family.
It will be done. Lord Captain, the evidence you have collected is sufficient to apprehend the culprit. I will report to you in the mess hall, and we shall bring this investigation to a close. Well, I mean, we just had someone just straight up say, yeah, it was one of your enforcers. And I don't know what else we need to do for interrogation. But that's okay. Let's head on back and see what we got. Gonna walk all the way back. Because you need a moment to gather yourself, because you're your own team members. Always the enforcer, it's always the inquisitor.
We shall reclaim what is rightfully
Barak.
ours.
You shall speak to me now. Lord Captain, the real pipe warden Gwyn has been found and is being escorted here as we speak. Are there any remaining questions you wish to address before we hear from Gwyn himself?
Someone attempted to mislead our investigation. We cannot let this go without consequences.
Undoubtedly. Let us go over the facts we have in the sabotage and compile them. The body of the deceased was mutilated after death. It is likely that the nature of the injuries would have proven very useful in the investigation, and that the perpetrator concealed them for that very reason. Someone sabotaged the work log cogitator, so it would be harder for us to find the victim's partner, who might have information valuable to the investigation. Instead of the murdered man's partner, we were given a fool, one who thoroughly incriminated himself first before admitting that Captain Jinveri had put him up to it. Sourback glowers at Jinveri, and she pales with fear.
Who was guarding the body?
It was Jinveri. Klein reluctantly nods at his fellow enforcer. I relieved her when I came to inspect the corpse, which by then had already been cut up. Jinveri nervously adjusts her armor under Sourback's piercing gaze. The corpse was already looking like that when it came under my purview, but I could not get the name of the officer who discovered it. The deck was such a mess that I decided I would deal with it later.
And who had access to the work log cogitator?
The tech priest did not let anyone near the cogitator. They even tried to prevent the enforcer's investigation. Jinveri, were you there the entire time? Yes, ma'am, since the start of the watch. I went there right after I handed the body over to Klein. The only time I stepped away was to retrieve the data slate from my quarters. I left a watchman, but he went missing. Most likely one of the officers did not realize he was on duty and sent him off on some errand. But I was only gone for a few minutes. Very convenient. A missing sentry, a data slate misplaced against regulations. Dorotko drums his fingers on the holster of his belt, where his own data slate sits tightly nestled. I don't understand how I could have forgotten it. I always check my gear when I go on duty.
Suspect Yard claims that you coerced him into lying about yourself, Jinveri. What do you have to say for yourself?
I may have conducted his preliminary interrogation, like so many others. Dorotko requested my assistance because of my experience in dealing with the rabble. But I swear that there is no truth to these accusations against me. The transcript says you conducted Yart's interrogation alone. Why is that? Because I can handle a single laundryman. Jinveri raises her chin proudly.
How did you know he was a laundryman? And if you beat him, Did he have all the marks on him before?
And there's no other things here. I don't know if I missed something. Did I miss steps?
Captain Jinvari, all the evidence points to you. You are charged with sabotage and consequently sentenced to death.
Jinvari stands with dignity, neither arguing nor begging for mercy. She surrenders her weapons and allows herself to be led away. Klein watches her with a gloomy expression. And as she passes him, you notice her whisper something in his ear. That takes care of the traitor. Now let us proceed with interrogating the pipe warden. Why do I get the feeling that there's two traitors here? The pipe warden does his best to remain reverently bowed, which paints a rather comical picture given his formidable height and complexion. He lowers his head, tugging at his beard. Senior Pipe Warden Gwydon, honored to serve, Lord Captain. I'm ready to confess to everything.
You are the real Pipe Warden Gwydon, are you not?
I am, and I'm proud of it, Lord Captain. A pipe warden's craft is hard work, but necessary. My number is SP-268-55. My work partner was the late Orto, number SP-246-01. I oversee the water supply systems on the upper deck. Sectors A-3, K-8, and R-2. That includes valve 27-B. There can be no mistake. I have verified his identity myself. It has also been confirmed by the other workers.
Did you kill your mutant partner?
I didn't kill him, and I didn't know he was a mutant. Oro and Izor gotten along, and he wasn't much for talking. But then, he shudders. A servant of death came from the darkness. Ended him quickly but harshly. She bled him dry and put a black feather in his throat. She told me to pump blood into the other pipes, and then she left. I wanted to confess, but I was afraid she'd come for me too if I did.
Whom do you mean by this servant of death?
A holy slayer in black and crimson and bone. Feared by all, they are quiet and merciless as death itself. They come from the Emperor's to kill because the Emperor commands them, so Cabela! Cabela! You have already met the servants of the Bloodspun Web, Lord Captain. Their grim procession is not one the upper decks will soon forget.
Why did you fill my bath with blood?
I did as the servant of death commanded. She said the Emperor gave the first spinner a sign that your lordship should be bathed in the blood of poor Otto, my partner. And well, he gulps. I was scared, so I obeyed. The first spinner? Are you talking about the Vizier of the Bloodspun Web? Yes, that's him. He leads the death cultists, the lot who worship the Emperor by killing. His spinners hunt down heretics, but sometimes they take righteous lives too. Their service is mysterious, fervent, and bloody. If the Vizier ordered it, then there must have been a reason. The Undying One must have revealed something to him that we are ignorant of.
Summon the Vizier of the Bloodspun Web. I wish to hear his explanation.
As you will, Lord Captain. Your lordship, if I may ask, what happens to me now? I never meant to anger you. I thought I was doing as the Emperor willed it, but here we are. I'm a simple man. I know pipes, and I know them a lot better than all this people business. My eyes aren't what they used to be, but I can still smell rust and metal. No, not so much in people's thoughts.
You acted as a true servant of the Emperor would. I will have you provided with the best ocular implant for your work.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart, your lordship. I'll serve you faithfully, and I'll never forget your mercy. The Vizier of the Bloodspun Web treads lightly and silently, as if his old gaunt body has no weight at all. He whispers weakly,
Noman Solstrom willed to see me, and so I have come. I have summoned you to discuss the actions of your apprentices.
The Vizier responds in an equally respectful manner.
Let their deeds be weighed.
Investigation has established that the blood-spun web orchestrated an attack on his lordship by means of pouring unholy blood into his bath. This affront... The old man's murmurs drown out Sauerback's relentless voice.
Nomen Nostrum knows the truth. So it was done, for so I did will. It was no affront, but a prophecy. From my hands to divine, unsullied martyrs offered their souls and bodies into his imperishable grace. I gazed into the red rivers of their smoldering lives, and I did see a roiling, unclean staining the bays, reaching for the anointed lord of the ark. In my apprentice's last sighs, I heard the undying ones whisper. He bid me bathe the domen in the blood of he who must go, and they who have been righteous. For this will shield the domen and strengthen his body against the roiling unclean. I obeyed. Bella, did you know about this?
When I saw the wounds made by the hand of a fellow believer, I guessed. But the Vizier chose not to warn you, and so was not my place to do so either. If there had been a plot against you and a knife aimed at you, I would have given you some sign. But the Vizier means you no harm. He is your servant. Where your other subjects' threads are clear and straight, his lie in the shadows of hints and secrets. Trust him as I do.
What do you mean by the roiling unclean?
He did not reveal,
But it is corruption itself. It offends him. It tastes as sweet as fetid water in old pipes. Its promises are the deception of an enforcer's smile. Its face is elusive. Do you claim that you did it because the God Emperor willed it so? I speak, move, and draw breath because he wills so. I defy not the undying one, neither in death that gifts and takes, nor in my living existence. The man you killed, who was he? I know not. I heard only the name, and I knew he must go.
he listens to the empty space above his shoulder and nods.
Yes, we need no more knowledge than that. Could your vision have been false?
The Vizier's lips curl into a smile.
I held the cards of his tarot, washed in the blood of the righteous. They make no mistakes, and neither does he send false visions. Only mortals err. They who read the signs, they who interpret. Master-at-Arms, are you convinced that we have found the culprits?
The situation is clear, your lordship. Sauerback makes the sign of the Aquila. The Emperor has sent us a portent. The protector of mankind guides the hands of his holy servants to guard us and warn us of hidden threats. God Emperor, I thank thee for protecting us, even though there are instruments of your protection, whose purity and holiness I may never understand. This Monkey has drawn attention to the mutant in a way that could not be ignored. Shrewd tactic, if the threat is indeed as great as he believes.
Could it be a coincidence that the victim of the ritual was a genetic aberration?
The officers around you keep a respectful silence, but you can tell by their faint smiles that they find the very idea of doubting the Emperor's providence absurd.
And the cults of the blood-spun web will face no persecution for their deed.
The vizier freezes, listening to silence, then nods to nothing.
Yes, yes, I will tell him.
He turns his soon-shut eyes to you once more.
We are seeds in your hands, giver of life. Whether you keep us or scatter us, we will remain grateful.
Be that as it may, you have hit a dead end. We hope that exposing the culprits will lead us to the aberration's lair. Let's see, what do we do? Well, the blood-spotted web is involved.
Sourback, the investigation must continue.
But no spinner or brave warrior from the Domin's circle can find the roots of the unclean.
Or it can appear as human and act as human. Only its thoughts betray its vile nature. Only its thoughts are never human.
Ways. Anxious silence falls upon the moment Sourback says this one word. She narrows her eyes. Is it unclean thoughts we need to find? Very well. Let Ways find them. He knows how, no matter how badly he wishes that the rest of us forgot about it.
Vinny Zachary is a fearsome hunter. When he hunts the flagship whales. When he thinks, my teeth creep, and I can feel pain as if I am young again. But his power is great indeed. He can hunt down our prey. How can the choir master of the astropaths be of use to us?
The esteemed Zachary Ways can perform the ritual thought reading. This practice lets him do a cursory examination of the minds of thousands of people in search of certain individuals. A ritual as rare as it is dangerous, and only someone as versed as Master Ways can accomplish such a feat.
Has he done something like this before?
Once. Lady Theodora made use of his services to expose spies on board, who apparently had been in the employ of Lord Inquisitor Calcazar.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems not everyone here is eager to leave this matter to Master Wise.
I would say the one least eager will be Master Wise himself. Last time his efforts caused some severe warp manifestations. The ritual truly is perilous.
Not to put a fine point on it, Wise nearly destroyed the ship back then. Incidentally, he'd given us multiple warnings that it could happen. Lady Theodora ignored him, and we reaped the results. Oh, why do I get the feeling that I know what will happen next? Is all. Master-at-Arms, your duty is done. I give you leave to wrap up the investigation on the officer's deck.
My duty will be done when the threat is eliminated. I will brief the enforcers while you consult Choir Master Ways, Lord Captain. Well, things are escalating, aren't they? Interesting. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, unless this kicks right into a cutscene, and it does not, we will be cutting the episode short here. Next time, talking with the Choir Master and finding out how to read everyone's mind on the ship at the same time. For now, if you enjoyed today's episode, by all means, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to drop a comment on down below as well. Every little bit does help. And I greatly enjoy feedback from series such as this. In the meantime, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, all.